Welcome to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gann, the podcast for people-centric leaders, business owners, and HR professionals who know that people are at the heart of business success. Join me and industry experts as we explore the key aspects of building a thriving company, sharing cutting-edge strategies, impactful insights, and the latest trends to help you ignite your business growth. It's time to rev up your leadership, rev up your success. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Rev Up Your Business. Today, my guest is Jennifer Lyall. She is an intuitive business mentor and a chief energy optimizer. We're going to talk about the 2-minute shift, how busy executives can reduce stress quick. So let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer. Jennifer is helping organizations boost profits and productivity by showing them how their people can focus their energy. By checking their inner battery and keeping it charged all day long, team members increase stamina, boost confidence and joy, and enhance performance. Jennifer is on a mission to teach 1 million people how to check their inner battery as often as they check their phone battery, and has reached over 60,000 through radio and podcast interviews, presenting on corporate stages, webinars, and summits. Soon, she'll be launching her Focus My Energy certification program to spread the word. Jennifer is a professional speaker and the author of 2 best-selling books. When Jennifer isn't supporting the ambitious leaders, you can find her hiking on the trails or camping with her husband or reading the next book or 2 or 3 to expand her mind, soul, and business. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Hilda. I'm so excited for today's conversation.
As am I. I know you're an avid hiker and camper, and that's a side that I don't normally see except in pictures, but I know that's part of you kind of making sure that you stay healthy and balanced. And oftentimes we're creating programs for our staff, and yet being an executive, a business owner, can be a very lonely world. And so how do you manage that stress? And I know you talk about energy management, so share what that means.
If you think about the energy that you bring to a situation, or if you just consider how you feel when you walk into a room where there's been an argument and you can feel the tenseness in the room, or you walk into a party and you can feel the excitement, you bring that kind of energy as well to a particular moment, to every moment. And it influences how your day experience is going to unfold. It was going to influence how quickly things happen or how long something's going to take. If you're down in the weeds and you're frustrated and stressed out, then things take longer to unfold. So it's about this idea of being aware of who you're being in a moment, how you're showing up to a situation, and then consciously choosing to be the best version of yourself to lead through whatever experience it is that you're leading yourself through something, or leading a team or a client through an experience.
I like how you say that you can choose to be different. So a lot of times executives have so much on the go and they build a stress up, and then they're not the best version of themselves. They may end up being, maybe they're a very decisive person, and then in the language of fascination, they show their kind of not best selves. And so instead of being decisive, they're barking out orders and saying, I told you to do it this way, so you need to do it that way. That energy really impacts on the team that they have.
And also the leader themselves, they feel like that's not even the real version of themselves, and then they have regret afterwards for how they're leading, and then they don't know how to go and clean it up.
So how do they focus that energy? When you say energy management, how do people manage that energy?
Well, the first step is becoming aware. Where are you? How are you showing up? And for me, that's about doing something that I call, it's a quick shift that you can do in just 2 minutes. I call it checking your inner battery. So as you mentioned, I'm on a mission to teach 1 million people how to check their inner battery as often as they check their phone battery. We give so much more credit to the technology that we use, and we make sure that that's not going to run out of battery, because we all know what it's like if you're trying to finish something on your laptop and then the battery's dying. It's just like, I've got to plug in. And yet we will get to that same place of depletion, and we don't honor ourselves enough to take that time to recharge, to boost our energy levels up so that we're able to complete the task in an effective way. And so the first step is self-awareness. So taking that pause to check in and actually see, how am I doing? What is the energy that I'm bringing to this moment, to this situation? So before I started this conversation with you, I took a moment, I went outside, I went in the sunshine, I checked in to see, where am I at? And I just enjoyed the sunshine, feeling it on my skin, and just let that be, and some deep breaths to just let that be part of what I helped use to help raise my energy up.
I love that, because to me, people and sunshine are my energy. And it just gives me that extra boost. And yesterday it was sunny all day long. Like every time I looked out, it was so sunny. Oh, no, maybe it was 2 days ago. Yesterday it was like terrible storms here. But that particular day, every time I looked out, there was just more sunshine and more sunshine. And I felt my energy level going up and up and up. And I noticed when you first came on too, you had that warmth of sunshine in you. And I felt that energy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So you have a great awareness then of the energy and things that lift you up. And as we move through our days, we tend to be just operating on autopilot. We're doing a lot of tasks that we've done before. By the time we're 35, over 80% of what we do is on autopilot. It's just automatic programming in our subconscious mind. So a lot of times the way that we're being and the way we show up, we don't even realize that we're doing it. And this taking a pause to check your inner battery helps you get present to, how am I feeling in this moment, and identifying some things that might be a self-sabotaging pattern that is a way that you operate on default, but maybe it's eroding your relationships with your team members, or perhaps it's undermining your confidence when you go to do a particular task that maybe you're still building your confidence at, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. And I think I remember hearing a presentation once. I can't remember the name of the person, but they were saying, if you are still operating on strategies and solutions that served you when you just graduated from university and were new in your career, those same strategies don't work anymore, because you're not a student anymore. You're the CEO of your company, you have children, and you have a partner. These other obligations, that if you're working on autopilot for 25 years, those strategies are not healthy, and they don't serve you as well as they used to.
Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But the thing is that people are often unaware that they're even doing it, because it just is them. It just is how you are leading. It's just how you work.
Now, I know you work with a lot of people, executives including. What is your sense right now? Where are people's energy levels? Well, we're past COVID now, but people are still learning how to live this kind of evolved reality that we have.
Well, I think that we're past COVID, but we still are in a very challenging climate. There's a lot going on politically, and there's a lot of uncertainty being in Canada, a forthcoming election for when we're having this conversation. There's a lot of uncertainty, people really desiring change and not sure what that change is going to look like. There are a lot of businesses that are having a lot of challenges because there is so much uncertainty. All of that outside information is weighing really heavily on people. That fear is being projected at us, and it can be a big weight on your shoulders, which then impacts your perspective as you're making decisions and as you're leading. It might cause you to hold back when perhaps there's actually an opportunity for you to lean in, because you're listening more to the outside indicators and not giving enough trust into some of the things that you intuitively know and that your past experience has just shown you is like, I don't know, I think that we should be kind of leaning in a little bit more rather than pulling back, because there are so many other people that are pulling back.
Do you find more people check into their intuition and their feelings, or is there only a small proportion that learn to trust their gut or their intuition?
I think that there are more and more people that are valuing their intuition. They are recognizing that it is a competitive edge. It can help them tune into things that logically may not make sense on paper, but there's just this sixth sense about, I think that there's something more here. And it can come into play in hiring. It can come into play in business decisions. Like, so for instance, I've helped a number of my clients with evaluating different candidates for who to bring on their team. And I even helped my husband, and he had two candidates to choose from. And one was an internal hire and the other one was an external hire. So I took him through my intuitive business decision-making process. And in the process, he rated both candidates. And then at the end, it's like, okay, what's your gut instinct? And there was a similar score for each of the candidates, but for the internal hire, which you would think would make more sense because they already know the company, so that part of the learning curve isn't there. But he just said, I feel like I'm going to be disappointed. And then so that was on the weekend that we were having that conversation. On the Monday, that applicant withdrew her application, and then by the end of the month, she left the company. So he knew that. He didn't know how he knew it. Yeah.
Because I'm in the hiring, in the HR business, and people are hiring, I often say to people, particularly they're novices. I mean, I've hired probably over 1,000 people, or interviewed, reviewed resumes, and I've seen the outcome of my hires. So all of those processes help you say, yeah, that was a good hire, and you validated that. But people who are new to the business, don't have enough experience, don't know how. And so oftentimes when I'm teaching HR 101 to people and we talk about recruitment, I say, trust your gut.
Yeah.
And I say, somehow you say, I don't know about this person. Are they going to be a team player? Something just doesn't feel right. And what I say is, trust your gut. You don't know why, but intuitively, internally, you are doubting this particular choice, and your gut is telling you more than you realize. So trust it. Later on, when you've had more experience, you will validate, yes, the reason I didn't hire that person was because of this, or I thought I would hire this person. My gut told me no, but I thought, no, I need to be fair. I need to be equitable. I need to be whatever. And then they realize that gut was really telling me something, right?
And I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because that gut instinct, you are picking up on that individual's energy.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you're picking up on subtleties. So I believe that this idea of intuition is really a language, and it's a language of energy, where you are picking up on subtle energetic signals that people are giving off. And you might feel it in the physical. I get goosebumps or truth bumps as confirmation of ideas. Sometimes you get the cheesiness or queasiness in the stomach. It's like, there's just something doesn't feel right. Or it could feel like a heaviness. Or it could be an emotion that comes up. Or it could be that you just get a flash of a word whispered in your ear that you don't know where that comes from. It's just like, be careful. Or maybe there's a flash of an image of perhaps another person that was difficult in your life. And it's just like, you don't quite know why. But those are some different ways that your intuition, the language of energy, could be speaking to you to try to reflect back to you what you are picking up as you're interacting with this individual.
So that begs this next question, is that during COVID, and even now, you and I are on Zoom. We are not in the same room. And what I realized was, when we used to have meetings, our executives, you instinctively knew, like you could feel the energy in the room. That decision was going to be yes or no. You could feel that. And as somebody's about ready to speak, you know it. You don't even, they're not even facing you, and you know they're going to speak, and you instinctively turn to them because they are going to speak. So this is what I'm trying to say is this is that energy that we talk about. And people don't necessarily know how valuable it is. And I think in this day when we're working hybrid, sometimes we are lacking that decision-making process of being in the same room. Some people can feel it miles away. I get that. But the average person hasn't quite been that intuitive. I'm wondering if you can comment on that.
That is fluency.
Okay.
So just like how when you are very fluent in a language, it's easy and you can pick up different nuances and you can understand words, discern words that are the exact same pronunciation, but you have that context of the rest of the sentence. Like you just know that other language, and so it's easy. But when you're a newbie, it's a lot harder to pick up on things. It's a lot harder to express yourself. It's a lot harder to understand things. So for someone who is very trained with picking up on energy, I've been working with energy. I didn't realize it, but since I was 4 years old, consciously aware of it since 2010. So 15 years of practicing this language. Now for me, I have focused this fluency on individuals, leaders, and business. So one of my geniuses is even picking up on the energy of business ideas and opportunities, helping people through the decision-making process to understand what does that ideal goal feel like and what does this opportunity feel like. Does that feel like the same thing? Is that the match?
Yeah.
So even in the interview process, you have the candidate before you. You have the void that needs to be filled, the gap that needs to be filled on the team. You have the energy and the dynamics of the team, understanding what that is, and then you're evaluating the candidate. Is this the right energy that's going to contribute to creating the well-rounded team? Is it a match?
That's really interesting. And I think people that more and more check in with their gut or whatever that signal is really start to become more confident. As you say, fluency. I love that term you use. More confident. My daughter is pretty good at intuition now. And she says, I think my gut is telling me this. And I'm learning to validate and reinforce that. If that's a decision you think you need to go with this coach or you're not sure about this particular thing, trust your gut. I keep telling her, trust your gut, because you're showing time and time again that's working for you.
All the top leaders use it. I mean, Steve Jobs, even though he was from what I hear, a tyrant from how he led, he used his intuition. He followed his intuition and created so many innovative products with Apple. Sir Richard Branson, he uses his intuition. He says he leans on that far more than he looks at all of the data. Like he's still going to do his due diligence, but he goes with his gut for making his final decision.
Okay. You talked about, we're talking about stress, and then we talked about how to release stress by trusting your gut a little bit more. You mentioned earlier, and certainly in the introduction, about the 2-minute shift. Yes. Tell us about that.
So the 2-minute shift is about taking a moment to get present to who you're being, what I call checking your inner battery, and happy to walk you through that process. And then once you discover where you're at, if your inner battery is depleted and you need to show up for whatever it is that you need to do at that moment, or it might give you an indication that it's time to adjust your schedule and perhaps put something off a little bit until you are at that level where you are showing up as your best version of yourself. So you pause, you check in, evaluate, do I need to boost my energy, or do I need to create a pause or give myself space and grace to move through something? And if it's something that you need to boost your energy for, there are some very quick techniques for how you can boost your energy very quickly so that you can show up as that better version of you to be able to perform as you need to. Would you like me to walk you through the process and then I can take you through an example? Would that work?
I think that might be useful for the listeners. I'm happy to be your subject.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So you're going to want a pen and a paper. Oopsies. A pen and a
Okay.
paper. And you're going to write physical and leave a bit of space. And then down below, emotional,
Mm-hmm.
leave a bit of space, mental, and then spiritual. You're going to close your eyes. I like to put my hand on my heart just to ground me. And it's completely up to you whether or not you want to do that. And just take a brief breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel physically right now? It's the first number that comes. 1 is low and 10 is high.
7.
7. Okay, and I got an 8. And just do a quick scan through your body to see why are you rating yourself that number right now? And for me, I feel 8. I did a little bit of a recharge. I mentioned earlier that I was out in the sunshine. I was actually barefoot on the grass, which was kind of squishy. We had a lot of rain, but still just there's so many nerve receptors on the bottom of our feet. It just takes a few seconds for us to reconnect in with the earth.
So I chose 7 because I feel really good. But I'm packing to go to Greece, and I have a feeling it's going to be an all-nighter. So that's probably brought the 8, 9 down to the 7 to be realistic.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great awareness. All right, next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling emotionally right now? The first number.
8.
Awesome. And then what leads you to be an 8?
Again, we're going to Greece, so I'm looking forward. I think there's a theme here. Going to Greece, so that's going to be relaxation, but a lot of great things are happening. I've done 2 training programs, and the responses that I get from people through the training, I know I'm connecting with them, reaching them, and that they are going to be using it. It's very, very applicable. So that's just giving me a high buzz. And the future looks bright to continue to be there to help people with their self-confidence. So I'm on a pretty good high. Pretty good.
Ooh, I love it. And I got a 9. And the word that came up for me was welcoming. And I guess just such a welcoming conversation with you. I feel very, very at home in this conversation. So that's what came up for me. Okay. Next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel mentally right now? First number. And this is about, are you clear and focused, or are you distracted and all over the place? As well as, what are the dominant thoughts that are in your head?
So immediately 10 came up, nice. But then my brain said, no, it's supposed to be an 8 or a 9. But I think the mental thing is that there are so many thoughts in my head right now, like gazillions of ideas, but they all seem like they're going to lead to something even greater and bigger, and I just got to let the process manage it. And I think that's why the 10 flashed up.
I love it. I love it. And I got a 9, and I just love this conversation. I love where we're going with this, and it's been fun so far.
I'm starting to feel a shift and relaxed already. I don't know if this is part of it.
And the last question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel spiritually? And this is about you and your connection to whatever higher power it is that you believe in, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever it may be. It could be in your higher purpose, or simply faith that things are going to work out, whatever that is for you. If this question doesn't resonate with you, then you don't have to go there. You can get a lot of insights from the other 3.
So there's a little race around in a circle going 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And they're all playing together. But I feel that this is the year that I'm reaching as many people as I can to help them build their self-confidence. Mm-hmm. And so this 8, 9, 10 is that spiritual connection, and I'm just letting it flow. I'm just letting it come and flow as it needs to come.
I love it. And I got a 10. And sometimes I do get a number and then another number. And it gives me an indication of kind of, part of me is this way and part of me is that way. So I love that you just shared that you did have multiple numbers. So just know that that's okay.
And they're swirling in a circle. They're going around and around and around.
That's fun.
And I'm actually seeing purple right now. My eyes are closed, and I saw red at the beginning of our session here, and now I'm seeing purple. Lots of little purples going on here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that's great. So that's the idea of checking in here. And so it's important to not only get the number, you're welcome to open your eyes whenever you're ready.
Thank
It's
you.
important not only to look at the number, but also get some insights as to why, what's behind that number. And that's where you're going to find some extra insights. So for instance, there was one time when I was teaching this process, it was to a women's networking group, and it was springtime, just before Mother's Day, and it was a dinner meeting, loving the connections. And so I'm walking everybody through how to check in. And then when it came to emotional, I got it that I was a 7. It's just like, isn't that interesting? I'm enjoying all these conversations. And then when I asked myself why, I miss my mom. Now, at that time, I had seen my mom the weekend before Mother's Day, but I was keeping Mother's Day activities to be for me. But I guess we were probably talking about Mother's Day, and I guess that was bringing up emotion around not being able to see her for Mother's Day. I had lost my dad on Father's Day in 1995, so I'm sure that was probably a contributing factor, and we just don't know how long we have with people, right? So that's the thing. There can be these little things that are irritating us that we don't even realize. You're driving to a meeting and you get cut off on the way there or whatever, and you're pissed off about that. You bring that into your day and you don't even realize how that's impacting your energy, creating a little extra edge in your voice as you're talking to somebody. And they may or may not pick up on it. And they might be feeling like, "Ooh, his is a little snarky today," or "Jennifer's a little pissed offness today. Like, just give her some space because there's something going on." And you don't even realize that you're bringing, a difficult conversation with your spouse or with your sister from the night before into the next day.
When you were talking about your mother, and you obviously shared that emotion with me, then it made me think about my mother. And it was funny. I was ironing. I don't iron anymore, but in those days I was ironing, and all of a sudden my mother popped in my head. It's Sunday, and she's popping in my head. I thought, well, that's strange. I don't usually get my mom popping in my head. And then a few minutes later, the phone rang. And it was my brother. And my brother said, "Mom's in the hospital."
Oh, gosh.
Anyways, that was the beginning of the end.
Oh.
It was almost like spiritually she was showing up and connecting with us. And, got to the hospital and she wasn't quite there, but she was there. The nurse in me goes, "Mom, hold my hand. If you can hear me, squeeze my hand." And she squeezed my hand. And then the nurse knows that that's sometimes just a response. So I said, "Mom, if you can hear me, let go. Let go of my hand." And so when she let go, I knew she was really there. And I told her I loved her. But yeah, there wasn't much time left after that. So
right.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think sometimes we need to check into our lives and sometimes we get messages that really help us go further or pause back and reflect on what we have. So your mother's story brought this mother's story into my brain.
And it's all good. And so just to give a bit more context for this, so what do you do with these numbers? I believe 8, 9, or 10, you're in a thriving zone. That's in the flow state. 1, 2, or 3, you're surviving. You're just barely getting by. Yeah. When you're at 4, 5, 6, or 7, you're just kind of flip-flopping back and forth between those two states. You're suffering. And this guide can help you to know when you need extra space. So my mom passed away 2 years ago. So 2023. And this process of checking my inner battery helped me know the days where I needed more space and grace. Just be kind to myself.
Yeah.
And then when I was ready, okay, I'm in a good space. I can do some work. And that was so helpful. Years before that, 2014, when my brother passed, I wasn't doing this practice, not regularly. And I remember it was like, okay, it's been like 3 weeks since Vic passed. I'm going to go to this networking event. And I went to the networking event. And it's just like, what the heck am I doing here? I'm not ready for peopling yet.
Mm-hmm.
So this check-in helps us with understanding not only how to manage stress, but also when we need some extra space. Sometimes we're going to be able to do a shift in 2 minutes, and I'll walk you through a really quick process. And other times, you might need to take a nap. You might need an extra day to do something just to feel better, to get out of a funk. And that's where I recommend 10 different mindfulness-based techniques to help you with moving through things, whether it's journaling, listening to your favorite song, being out in nature, just slowing down and eating and drinking mindfully, or meditation. That's something that I often reach for, is meditation to help me get back into boosting a boosted inner battery. But something that you can do very quickly, because this check-in you can do in just a moment, and you can do it anytime, anywhere. You could be taking an extra moment in the washroom while you're washing your hands, checking in. And then you could do a breath or two. And that will give you an extra little boost to be able to face whatever it is that you need to do. So I'm going to walk you through a breath that's called a box breath. And it's called a box breath because you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. And just doing 2 of those breaths will help you come back to center. It activates the parasympathetic system so that it reduces the stress and allows you to think a little bit more clearly. And you'll be surprised at how this can impact you. So I'm going to count you through this process, and you can do the breathing, okay? All right. So you're going to start with the inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just pause. Take a regular breath. And then we're going to do it once more. Ready? Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And take a regular breath. And then check your inner battery again. Notice, how are you feeling physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually now?
Physical went up, a little bit more energy. I think all the others are pretty much where they were before.
And the thing is we did 2 breaths. 2 breaths. So for you to have a shift in your physical state and just 2 breaths, that was less than a minute.
Yeah.
And nobody is going to give you a hard time about breathing. It's something you could do anytime, anywhere, right? You could do it in the grocery store. You could do it in the car. You can do it
just before you start the engine. You just sit there and then you start the engine.
You can be doing it while you're hooking up cables to a laptop before you do a presentation.
Is it because we just stop and pause and we focus, and that focus distracts us from whatever that negative energy is, or
it interrupts the pattern? It interrupts the pattern of stress, and it gets you out of, it activates what's called a relaxation response at the back of your mind, of your brain. The more time you're able to spend in that place with the deep breathing or with meditation, or another powerful tool is actually sighing. Research has actually shown that that is a bigger stress reliever than just the deep breathing. And it activates a relaxation response, gets you out of the fight and flight so that you can come back to center and say, all right, what am I doing now? And refocus, rather than bringing all the stress, all the stories, all that worry, whatever it might be that was weighing on your shoulders. It's like, let's see if we can kind of put that over here for a moment and just tap into what I know to do without all that stress. Let's just create a clear slate and then take action.
I can visually imagine people who are regular sighers. I think, oh, there's a good reason for you doing that. That helps you.
It's really powerful. It's surprising. It is very powerful. There's something about the exhalation and also the vocalization that helps to bring it back on track.
Any other strategies you want to share before we wrap up?
Yes, as you are thinking about how do you navigate through your stress, if you feel a little weird taking a moment to breathe through something, or maybe you discover that, you know what, before you do a presentation, maybe I should be listening to my favorite song to get pumped up. Know that you taking that time is giving your team members permission to also take the time that they need to show up as the best version of them. So you are leading by example. So before you think about, is somebody going to think that I'm weird? Are they going to kind of question me taking this extra pause? It doesn't take very long at all, and it's going to empower you. It's going to help you lead better, and it's going to help your team be better too.
And I like how you say it gives staff permission, because oftentimes busy executives just go, 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 and they're not perceived as people that are taking time to relax and de-stress. And so they're almost reinforcing to people, you need to follow me. If you want to keep moving up, you need to be working hard. And yeah. So that's great advice. Be a role model in leading to manage stress. I appreciate the 2-minute shift that you taught us to help busy executives and people in general learn how to shift from whatever that state is that may put them at that 1 to 2 or the 3 to 5, whatever that range is. You can repeat that for us. That was really insightful. It was really insightful. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's so powerful how quickly we can shift our energy, and that awareness is so key, because it helps to identify triggers or patterns that are impacting things, and then we can start to interrupt those patterns and make new choices.
And I like how you say that. What we need to do is learn how to interrupt those patterns, because those patterns become a habit. And that habit is hard to break. So if you want to shift your mindset, you need to break that pattern, and doing that in a way that creates new patterns so that you can reinforce the new patterns. And so life will be, better balanced, less stressful kind of thing. What's coming up next for you, Jennifer?
I am in the process of writing my book to teach how to check your inner battery. So I'm almost done my first draft. I have a couple more sections that I need to wrap up. So I'll be launching that. My goal is to launch that this summer. And then
that's close behind.
Yes. And then a group program that goes with that, a digital program that goes with that. And I also do teach that in the corporate space as well. For those that are proactive, I'll do it for teams, but my vision is that I would love for it to be a bigger presence in the corporate world for those who are proactive and want to have it be part of the culture.
Cool. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, you can check out my website, jlyall.com, or you're also welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you to those who are listening or viewing our podcast today. It was a pleasure having you talk to us to help us in terms of making sure we can balance our work life to reduce our stress, and how to do it in 2 minutes. That's amazing. So thank you again, Jennifer. Thank you for those who are listening. Give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, there are a host of people that you would just love to hear about, because they'll help you grow your success, rev up your success, rev up your business. Take it easy. Thanks. Thank you for tuning in to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gann. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and Spotify to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. For more HR tips, strategies, and to learn how you can create a people-centric workplace, visit our website at peoplebrightconsulting.com.